Sunoco Special Saloons is brought to you by HP Electronic. Hello and welcome to Ring Djursland in Denmark for round 5 of Sunoco Special Saloons. With one more event to go after this, championships can be won or lost today as we look at the overall points table. Christian Siepmann has a 9-point lead over Martin Vettel, and last year's champion Jorn Hansen is down in 4th place but could well influence the outcome if he drives well today. But we start by looking back to an incident that occurred yesterday, and Klaus Christensen explains.
We were, after I think 4 or 5 laps, we were making up to the first back marker, and it was my father. He's 70 years old now, and his eyes are not so good anymore. So I went in, and he closed the door. He didn't see me, so we smashed, and I was out of the race.
And here we see the incident from his onboard camera. He was leading in his Aquila from Krista Gislerud in the Stealth, and Krista was ahead on points in their class. His father in 202, he appears to leave space for his son to drive through on the inside, and then bang! Klaus is out of the race. And at that moment it's safe to say he was not a happy man.
Now we were 25 points after Krista Gislerud in the championship. Now we are 43, so it will be a bit difficult to make up. But we just have to do the best we can now and hope that he has some problems as well as us, so we can maybe still get the championship.
And that was not the only melodrama that played out yesterday.
We had a fight yesterday, Jorn Hansen and me. Unfortunately, he was the winner of that fight. I think today's race, because the start position are the same today, I think it will end up something like that, just that I will be the winner today.
Yeah, I succeeded with keeping behind me all the way to the flag, and I used my head and didn't make any mistakes and not brake too late, because I knew it would be there immediately. So I succeeded with keeping behind me all the way.
On now to Hans Hartmann.
My goal is, of course, as always, to win. This time I feel I have a big chance because I have been fast the whole weekend. I was also fast in race 1. 3 minutes before end I had a alternator failure and a drop out on the engine, and then no power.
And now it's race time in the wet, with the Aquila and Stealth on the front row of the grid, and there are 19 starters. The Stealth is slow away, with Siepmann moving outside and Hansen inside, so Krista is back in 4th place, with Gravesen, Overgaard, Klosterman and Grundvig making up the top 8. Now let's see the start again from Hansen's Porsche. He sees the gap, he goes for it, Siepmann is outside, but now last year's overall champion is in 2nd place, and that will suit him down to the ground. And we have another view of the start from behind the Porsche. Johannes Gravesen on the inside in his Fiat, Mikael Overgaard moving alongside in his Porsche, the 16-year-old student from Sture now in 5th place. Klaus in the Aquila pulling away from Hansen and determined to put yesterday's incident out of his mind. Siepmann is 3rd, with Gislerud in the Stealth taking it easy in 4th. Whether that's because of a technical problem or maybe he's waiting to see how his car handles in the rain. This is the first time this year that we've had a rain-affected race, and fortunately it's only light rain, but it'll still be a tricky track for those who don't have the right tyres. It's Jorn Hansen's favourite Danish circuit, what the drivers call a power track, where you can really use the power under the bonnet to the best advantage, whereas Jyllands Ring is very technical with lots of turns and swings. Hansen has pulled away from Siepmann on the straight and then losing some of the advantage when they turn. And Krista in the Stealth is not pushing it and making sure he doesn't make any mistakes. Andreas Kjærgaard's Porsche leading round Vettel in his Corsa and Anders Christensen in his Peugeot. Jens Christian Legarth decided to build Ring Djursland in the 60s when an injury forced his retirement from racing. He wanted to build the first asphalt track in Jutland, and he chose this hilly area next to his home. It opened in 1965, was extended a year later, and is now 1,750 metres long. As Christensen comes round with a very sizable lead. Hansen is second with Seatman third as the rain continues to fall and it's making life unpleasant for just about everyone. Seatman always trying to find ways to improve his BMW, and he relies heavily on his chief mechanic Peter Rasmussen, who has in the past also worked for Mikkel Klostermann. Preben Grundvig in his Ferrari, now up to 6th place and producing one of his best drives of the season. And Martin Vettel was 8th in yesterday's race, and more importantly, he finished ahead of Hans Hartmann. And with the right results today, he could take over the overall lead in the championship, and that will cap a fantastic season for the 22-year-old from Odense. And he would take over the title that Jørn Hansen currently holds. He was very down after the Grand Prix, where he lost any chance of retaining the title, and his Porsche just wasn't performing. But now he's firing on all cylinders, and more than a match for Seatman in the rain. And it would appear that the Aquila is more than a match for the Stealth. Yesterday's incident, where he had to retire, could well have taken away any chance he had of winning in his class. But it will probably all come down to the final event at Djursland. This is Anders Christensen closing on Andreas Kjærgaard, who's driving his second car, the Porsche 948, instead of his trusted Scotty. 409, 16-year-old student Mikkel Overgaard driving his new Porsche into 5th place at the moment. With every outing he gains more experience and gets more confident. And this is a confident move by Vettel, taking Mikkel Klostermann on the inside. Klostermann has problems with his right front brake and letting him through for now. 404, Henrik Musker taking his BMW past Kjærgaard's Porsche. Oh, and putting on a real slideshow. Certainly gave him a little moment there. And here's the Stealth, having generator problems, and that could well be why he's off the pace. The Aquila definitely on the pace, but in the rain he won't threaten the lap record which he set a year ago. He's over 5 seconds slower in this heat. Vettel extending his lead over Klostermann, who won all 3 races at the Grand Prix. And more importantly, he's leading Hartmann, who is definitely not singing in the rain, more like struggling in the rain. Still Hansen in 2nd place with Seatman 3rd. And Vettel's Corsa with the Honda engine, leading Klostermann's BMW with the engine from a Corvette. All is not what it seems under the bonnet, it would appear. Grundvig has really learned a lot in his first year with his Ferrari, and he's hoping he can hold on to the 3rd place in his class as he takes the depot swing. Klaus coming round to lap Tor Brunelsen, who acts as the liaison person with the Norwegian drivers. He'd like to see more taking part next year, and he's working hard to try and make that happen. Peter Norm with his Peugeot 106, now being lapped by the Aquila. Mikkel Overgaard in 10th grade at Struer States Gymnasium. He tells me they have a small workshop at home where they prepare his Porsche. Klaus continuing to mop up the tail enders, that's Kjærgaard's Porsche, and up ahead is Vaibu's yellow BMW. He comes from North Jutland and is currently 3rd in his class and hoping to stay that way. And Klaus is hoping he'll continue without any problems. Now this will be interesting. It's his father up ahead. But fortunately it's a wide straight, and he moves across to allow his son to cruise past without the problems he had yesterday. I'm sure Klaus was expecting more of a challenge from the Stealth, but it would appear that he's lost too much ground to be a serious threat. Hansen and Seidman working their way past the slower cars. Oh, and Christer's Stealth beginning to make a move. Maybe I spoke too soon. The final event of the season is back at Djursland Ring in 2 weeks, and Jørn Hansen must be looking forward to that like a trip to the dentist's. He doesn't like the long technical circuit. He and his Porsche just don't seem to perform well there. And unless he's challenging with the leaders, he doesn't enjoy it. As he looks for a chance to lap Hans Hartmann, who's not enjoying the wet weather. It's been quite a while since he's driven in the rain. On board with Seidman, and he can see the Porsche passing the Honda without any trouble, and he follows suit as they approach the depot swing. Braking very late, oh, and getting very friendly with Hansen again. That was a close encounter of the worst kind. He needs to finish in both the races today to maintain his lead in the overall championship, whereas Hansen's 0 score from the Grand Prix put him out of the top 3 with no chance of getting the points necessary to get on the podium. And now a Norwegian Stealth means business. Shadowing Seidman round the bend and flooring it on the straight. So the Stealth is now third, with eyes firmly fixed on Hansen's Porsche. The weather forecast for the final race of the day is a little more promising, with this light rain making way for a dry period, and it can't come soon enough for most of the drivers. Christensen approaching the end of the race, and he can afford to ease off a little. But Hansen is about to have company, and choosing to stay wide and let the Norwegian through. Although his Porsche is fast, he knows the Stealth is a lot faster. Now the rain has eased off a little, he has to keep Seidman back in 4th place. So Christensen leads, Gislerud is now 2nd, Hansen 3rd and Seidman 4th, Mikael Overgaard 5th and Preben Grundvig 6th. Now here's the battle for 7th place. Klosterman finally mounting a serious challenge to Vettel's Corsa, who gives him room on the inside to pass. But Jonas Siersen's Toyota Supra, that's another matter as they head down the long straight. I think Seidman has resigned himself to 4th place. The track is still very slippery and it's better to be safe than sorry. Vettel ahead of the Toyota, which is not a threat to him in the points table as they race in different classes. Siersen now moving past and into 8th place, not having any problems with his gearbox, which exploded the last time he was here at the beginning of the season. The yellow BMW of Christian Weibo, about to be lapped by Mikael Overgaard. And here's Hans Hartmann, suffering a similar fate at the hands of Johannes Graversen's Fiat Turbo. I think this is one race Hans would like to forget in a hurry. Overgaard easing past Henrik Mosker's BMW, which had front brake problems in the first heat. And now the Porsche is adding Hans Hartmann to his clip list. Clearly Hans has chosen the wrong setup for this wet weather race. Two veterans on the final lap. Graversen in the Fiat is 68 and Anders Christensen in the Peugeot is 70, with Overgaard coming through to split them. Weibo, knowing the Stealth is there and making room for him to pass. Now on board with the leader. He repaired the damage to his car after retiring from yesterday's race, and he'll be very happy to get back to winning ways here today. With a comfortable margin to Christer in the Stealth, he leads the way past the checkered flag. Now here's the official result. Hansen is third ahead of Seidman, Overgaard, Grundvig, Klosterman and Siersen. Now let's hear from the winner.
We started up with we're making a big lead, making 100% on the first 5 minutes. Then we slowed down a bit and yeah, we won the race safe and secure.
And you didn't have to worry your dad this time.
No, okay. I saw him sometimes on the track, but I was staying a long way from him, so no problems.
Well, let's complete the deal and go over to the presentation ceremony. Right, we're going to take a short break. Stay with us for race 3 from Sunoco Special Saloons. Sunoco Special Saloons is brought to you by HP Electronic. Sunoco Special Saloons is brought to you by HP Electronic. And welcome back to Djursland, and it's race time. A rolling start with the Aquila maybe jumping the gun and Hansen kissing his bumper and loosening his rear light. But that's not satisfied the officials, who order the 19 to drive around and start again, which is where we are now. The sun's out, the track's dry, and Klaus Christensen has the lead from the Stealth, with Siepmann third, but only briefly, as Hansen powers through and pushes him to fourth. Siepmann pressing the Porsche, wow, just a whisker away there. And Kjærgaard inside Mosquer, who takes a turn for the worst. Plenty going on in this opening lap, where the Aquila leads the Stealth at the front. At the Grand Prix at Jyllandsring, Christensen set a new lap record. He also holds the record here at Djursland, and now the track's dry, it wouldn't surprise me if he was almost forced to break the record again, with Gislerud spurring him on. Third place in their class is what Weibo in the yellow and Mortensen in the Peugeot are fighting for. And Mortensen just avoiding Mosquer's BMW. Nice to see his reflexes are still razor sharp. This season could well be called the sunny Sunoco Special Saloons, because in the 15 races so far, 14 of them have been in the dry, which does tend to simplify tyre choice and setup. And this is how Hansen likes to drive his races, looking back to the closest competitor in his class, which is Siepmann in the BMW. The yellow flag is out, warning about Mosquer's Beamer on the track. Klaus and the Aquila had early season problems, and Christer in the Stealth won the first 6 races and established a healthy lead in the class. But then the Norwegian was forced to miss the third event because he was waiting for brake parts from England. The Grand Prix was a total disaster, having had a shunt in his first heat and then retiring with clutch and gearbox problems. But he still came here to Ring Djursland with a lead of 25 points. And after Klaus was sidelined in Heat 1, it looks like Christer will add to his lead after today, even though he's had generator problems during the course of the weekend. Anders Christensen leading Weibo and Mortensen round depot swing, with Kjærgaard's Porsche definitely slowing. But up front, things couldn't be better for Klaus and the Aquila. The old track record was 48.474. Not anymore. He's just set a new one, 48.412. And I'm certain he'll be delighted with that, and the fact he's been able to keep the 24-year-old Norwegian behind him. Hansen and Siepmann still locked together in battle for third place. Siepmann still leading in the overall championship. He has 336 points to Martin Vettel's 327, so just 9 points separating them. And if both finish this race, it will all be down to the final event at the end of the month. And now it looks like Andreas Kjærgaard is coming to the end of a disappointing Djursland. He's not been on the pace and is limping out of Heat 3. Back to the Hansen-Siepmann tussle, both hoping to own the corner. Oh, no, and both coming out as losers. Hansen's clipped Siepmann's front left wheel. Has he done any damage? Siepmann seems okay. Oh, maybe I spoke too soon. And it looks like it was a terminal tangle between them. Kjærgaard's Porsche has also come to the end of the road as far as this race is concerned. His engine is DEAD dead. It's not sunset yet, but Siepmann is walking off towards it, and I'm sure the air is blue with his thoughts about what has just happened. His overall championship chances have probably disappeared. Well, the safety car is out, and whilst they crawl round the track, the Porsche, the BMW and any other cars that have retired will be towed back to the pits. Jens Christian Lagarth, who built and ran the track for 2 years, was himself one of Denmark's best Formula 3 drivers, and he raced throughout Europe. He was officiating at an event here in 1967 in bad rainy weather when 3 cars collided and he was killed. His sons Mike and Pierre also raced for a while in saloons, but Mike is now a Conservative member of the Danish Parliament and Pierre is a successful businessman. And with the safety car now off the track, it looks like Klaus will be successful in this race as well. Hansen's been given a 20-second penalty after his incident with the BMW, but that's not much consolation for Siepmann. Certainly been an interesting race. We've had a lap record. Siepmann has handed the overall championship back to Martin Vettel, and there's been some interesting clashes further down the order. Christian Weibo attempting to pass Vettel and sliding into the sand instead. But the main competitor in his class, Bjarne Mortensen, retired after 5 laps, so Weibo will retain his 3rd place no matter what. The leaders coming round to start the last lap. And Mikael Overgaard making a late challenge on Hansen. The 2 prototypes, the Aquila and the Stealth, have really had a good race. Krista never giving Klaus a moment's respite. Full concentration needed and given. And Hansen too canny for Overgaard. Although trailing him will take 3rd place when the race officials adjust the times. So Klaus leading Krista round to the checkered flag. Now let's look at the overall result. Christensen, Gislerud and Overgaard, with Hansen dropping down to 9th place when the 20-second penalty is added to his time. Now let's talk to the winner.
Oh, it was the most crazy race this year. Now I can see the competition is here with Krista Gislerud in the Stealth. We were equal in the speed, both of us. We had a very good race. There was a lot of pushing all the time, and very exciting with some smash car and some safety cars. But it was the most wild race this year so far.
But time now to look at the overall points table. With 1 event to go, and that's at Jyllandsring, Martin Vettel now has a 24-point lead over Siepmann, and Hans Hartmann is in 3rd place, with last year's champion Johan Hansen unable to score enough points to do anything about it. Klaus going to receive his trophy, and well deserved for the final race. Meanwhile, his father, Anders Christensen, was receiving a Best Fighter of the Weekend trophy, and he was delighted with that. Well, that's it from Jyllandsring in Denmark. Hope you've enjoyed the racing, and until the next time, this is Roger England saying bye for now and stay safe. Bye. Sunoco Special Saloons is brought to you by HP Electronic.